Cory, Dustin, welcome to the Carrie Croft Show.
What up?
So excited. To say I'm excited is just an understatement because you guys kind of made me work for this.
Yeah.
I feel like if we would have just gave it up too easy, you wouldn't appreciate us coming down.
I agree.
I'm like a hot chick that you're trying to bang, but it takes a little while.
Yeah. Seriously, and it's worth it. It's worth every second.
Well, and you came with all the standard tools, compliments, lots of persistence, compliments, persistence. You have cool stuff that we like. You have like the Tupac and Scarface coasters,
I just think we have a lot in common in general, so it's easy to like each other. But this place is super sick, and I'm happy for you. This is awesome.
Thank you, and I'm happy for you guys because you guys are crushing it out on the east side.
Thank you.
How do people not know who you are? So people are asking me who are Cory and Dustin? How at this point do we not know when we have A-list celebrities living amongst us?
I don't know. My wife says I'm like a D-.
No. Disagree.
Yeah, so my daughter, she said, I heard her say one time, yeah, my dad's kind of famous in the wrestling fitness Instagram world. So if you think about that, it's true, but it's also such a very
niche
slice of the pie, right?
And kids don't think you're cool no matter what.
No.
So I have a lot of, my demographic is, I do have males for sure, and I'd like to keep it that way. So I like to keep things very unisex and kind of keep people guessing. But for that typical female SOS demographic that is like my sweet spot, give her the 2-minute commercial on what you guys do and who you are, what you're doing out in the east side. So max effort, old school, just rip out who you are, what you're doing.
Go ahead, D.
Well, I'm going to start with, first and foremost, my focus is being a dad and a husband, so I always think of myself as a family man first and a fitness guy, second. But
the ladies swoon.
Yeah. I'm playing to the audience here, right?
Yeah.
And I also like to think of myself as kind of a Renaissance man. I think of my favorite things, lifting weights, running until I'm exhausted, boxing, gardening, landscaping, yoga, doing the sauna, so it's kind of like an odd mix of things, but I think once you meet me, it kind of makes sense.
It totally makes sense.
I like what Dustin says. I think you wrote this on your IG or whatever. You say you're an ordinary man given extraordinary effort.
Yeah, that's all it is.
I think that probably really sums up both of us, honestly.
Or as they say, max effort.
Yeah, which is why the brand was called Max Effort. And it is called Max Effort because I think it's the way that we both choose to live our lives. We do difficult things on a regular basis to try to progress our family, also inspire people along the way, and it's both things we're passionate about. So
I think that the reason it resonates with people too is it's hard to look at and say, oh, I wish I was 6'3", or that I had elite genetics so I could be fast enough to play in the NFL or whatever. But if you can latch onto the idea, if I just really try hard at difficult things, I'm going to get better and I'm going to progress and be successful. Yeah. So that's kind of the concept behind max effort.
Yeah. Speaking of max effort, I have to give you guys, I'm a very, I don't want to call myself a logo, I critique logos. I critique meaning behind things. I think a lot of times you see tons of logos and people who spin up. Thank you.
So that's what it is.
But I look behind what a logo is, and obviously there's an overarching theme, and it should talk about you should look at it and be like, okay, this totally fits. You guys are a 12 out of 10. I'm curious how you came up with it. Was it simple? Were you just hey, let's do max effort, or was it a brainstorming session, or how did the name and the font and how did all that come to be?
Well, I couldn't believe it was available, first off. The supplement industry and fitness industry is so saturated. Everything is basically taken up. But in the West Side methodology, there's something called the max effort method, which is basically just like in the conjugate Bulgarian, Russian systems that once a week or twice a week, depending on what you follow, there's a maximum effort variation. That's where the original thought came from. But the way that we have just operated for so long has been in this kind of manner. That's why we're here, right? And so whether it's the crazy cardio stuff or when Dustin used to box, we've always pushed in these verticals till the brink, basically. And I think that just kind of summed up everything. And kind of the way you walk in our gym, it's just you can smell it, you can feel it. You have to, it's like you said before, it's invite only. You got to put your best foot forward. You have to give a max effort to even be able to be there. So I think it just all kind of organically made sense. And then when it was actually available, I was super excited.
I think I remember us like trying to brainstorm names, and when you came up with Max Effort Muscle, I remember thinking, well, there's no way that one will be available.
Yeah, that's literally what we thought.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it has to be copyrighted or someone's already
Yeah.
using that, you know.
It was.
It was written in the stars for you guys.
It was.
Yeah.
Do you think so? When I do get my official invite to the gym, could we write a contract that basically I can do like min to mead effort, but I could, what I lack in effort, I would do like some hip hop dancing and some antics, and I could have.
Well, there's no
effort
one else there, so you can do whatever you want.
Okay, so really, I don't have to really give the max, because you've seen me work out before. It's not exactly like, impressive.
Well, so I'm going to disagree with you there, Carrie. I think max effort is all, relative to what that person's ability is. So like,
Okay.
you don't have to, deadlift 500 pounds to give max effort. I mean, honestly, most of my high school athletes are on paper stronger than me now, because they've been in my
All
system
my
for a
guys
while.
are.
Yeah. At least your guys are grown men, though. My guys are 16, So if we were just looking at like, well, if you're not stronger than those guys, then you're not giving max effort, But it's kind of all relative to your abilities or to, what you're actually trying to pursue. So I think you are someone that gives max effort. I mean, look, you're always pursuing new ventures. You're always pushing the envelope with your business, and now your podcast.
I like.
Yeah, max effort's like a life thing. It's like I when I thought of the brand, I was like, well, it could be max effort in wrestling, powerlifting, tennis, podcasting, life. Like it literally, like I think a brand that has real legs, people can know kind of what it is, but just by the name. So it's like they're like, all right, well, if it's max effort, then there's something around this that means like you're trying hard, right? It's like, I don't know. I just thought it could really go across every vertical.
It really can, and I think it's important for you guys to, especially you guys, to color that in, because now that you're sitting here, and I tease, right? Because I really don't care about how hard I work in the gym, but a lot of people do care, and they're very intimidated. And sometimes someone's max effort is literally putting their feet on the ground that day, depending on what they're going through in life. So I think the more you guys kind of color that in, because people look at you guys, I mean, come on, like it's very polarizing. We'll get to that, because you guys are just wake your ass up and you're shredded, and people can look at that and feel like, oh, great for them. But like the bridge between me and that is so far. But hearing you guys talk about it is very different. I think that's important. But let's I don't want to get too far down that before I go into you, because Dustin gave his spiel, and I want to hear you give people out there who like, who's this Cory G?
Somebody asked me this the other day on a podcast. They said, is Cory and Cory G the same person? And I said, actually, I would say they're 100% the same person, because all I've attempted to do was lean into more of the authenticity. I think when you get some sort of success, you start to realize like, wait, I can really just keep being myself even more and more, right? I tried to do that early on, but as every time things would stall, the more authentic I got, the more they would move again. And so I think that at this point, especially, you're getting exactly who I am. And also, I think like through the content and I've been doing this stuff for so many years now, it's like I've inspired a lot of people that have told me that I need to continue doing those things. So when I get up every day, it's all for a purpose of like pushing forward my family to a different area of things, right? From the Ohio Valley, the humble beginnings we grew up in, that like when I'm done with this thing, like it's always different, like it's just different. And honestly, a lot of this was brought up by, I was around one guy growing up that started a grocery store that was a coal miner, and he set up every one of his family members by that one grocery store. Then his brother had a grocery store. Then his sister had a grocery store. And like even now, 3 generations later, our buddy I grew up with, he owns one of them because his mom was. So it's like I watched this in this town, this one guy say, all right, now everybody's going to be different. And they truly are. Then when I got here, I was around one of the Schottenstein kids early, and I saw how they were operating, and just from afar, but just enough to go, all right, like Jerome or whoever, which I believe was him, obviously at a crazy level, $1 billion level, but like every one of these people is different, and every one of their people, and it's like 4 generations deep now. And I just always would like daydream about what happens if I'm that guy. I am that guy. I don't know why anybody else would tell me any different. So fuck it. You know what I mean? So really I get up with that. Like that really never changes about me. So I think that whether shit's super difficult or I'm trying new stuff or I'm just being me and doing whatever, it's always with that in mind. So when you're around me, you're going to get like, I'm a serious dude. I feel like I'm trying to be as authentic as possible, but I mean business with my day-to-day stuff. But I love what I do, and I get the oxygen from inspiring people. And I realize that I'm only going to get what I want if I help everyone else get what they want. And so I think like that really wraps up, like I'm a dude who loves what I do. I'm serious about it, but it's also for this purpose that's driven me for just a really long time.
Going back to what you said, the question that was asked, are Cory and Cory G the same person? It's no different than me saying like, or is Dustin and Gut Check the same person? I mean, and I would argue that if you weren't, you wouldn't.
It wouldn't work.
But it begs a really good conversation about authenticity today, because with social media and with all these personal brands and personas and how easily accessible it is, or you think it is, to get somewhere because you see someone, there's so many, you have to sift through kind of the perpetrators and the real players.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think the one thing people can't take from you, and when I say you, I mean the general you, but you guys too, is being authentic. Like I sniff through because I've always just been me, very authentic. You love me, you don't like me. Like I'm not apologizing for that.
I always say I'm not for everyone.
No, but that's
that's
you
okay.
don't want to be, because you're highly concentrated for the people that you are for, and you're dialed in and you give more. Like to me, if you're trying so hard to be liked by everyone, you're diluting your flavor.
I want to like myself.
Yeah.
I genuinely want people to like me. I think everyone does, but the reality is like if I'm not being me and you don't like me, then what am I really doing it for? But if you really fuck with me, you do. I mean, I just think that's what it is. It's funny because me and Dustin have this dynamic where, like, I would say early on he was meaner and I was nicer, and I think sometimes it's flipped where I'm meaner and he's nicer.
You know what's funny? I think I'm noticing a bit of an energy of that. You came in today a little more like, you're nice, but you're kind of like, had a little edge, and you're just a little bit more like I want to like.
Well, number one, I've gotten a little bit softer in my old age. I think parenthood softened me up a little bit. And then I used to say this about Cory. I'd say Cory's one weakness is he's too nice to people.
Yeah.
Because I would always say, when Cory meets people, they always want to put their best foot forward for him. And sometimes he wouldn't see through their bullshit.
Yep.
Whereas with me, I would never give someone the benefit of the doubt right away. Like someone would have to kind of like prove to me why I should like them or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, now it's kind of changed where maybe now
Or we just met in the middle a little bit.
Because you're always going to have that gatekeeper mentality. You have that naturally, like that kind of like mafia, like you're in you definitely need to be, someone needs to prove to you that they're worthy in a way. Like that's always been you. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So I have so many friends and so many people that I like, but in reality, I don't really like people in general. No, I really don't, because most people are full of shit.
Yeah,
They're pretend to be something they're not. They want something from you, so they're going to act a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Listen, I am totally with you on that. I love it. So let's get to you two, because I love this dynamic. You guys have known each other since, you went on spring breaks together. One of you met your wives on spring break, right?
Yeah. Well, we met when we were like
We met when we were 15.
Yeah, when you were 15,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you would you go way, way back.
Way back.
high school weightlifting.
Before we could drive.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know each other's deepest, darkest. You would bury a body for each other. There's no doubt about that. But then when you add being business partners, there are complexities that come into that. I have a partnership. Anybody will tell you, like, being in business with somebody can be like being in a marriage, only you're not getting laid. So how has that, and how do you guys handle it? How's it affecting the relationship?
We first became friends competing with each other in the weight room. We grew up going to different middle schools, so we came to high school together. I was kind of like the small guy from my school that liked to lift weights.
I was same. Yep.
From his school that liked to lift weights. We didn't play football. Back then, it was almost like unless you played football, you weren't really real into weightlifting because the football coach was the weightlifting coach and blah, blah, blah. And so we were naturally kind of like butting heads and being competitive, but we formed a friendship through that. And you think at that age, 15, 16 years old, the dynamic of, you're trying to get attention from girls and who wants to hang out with who and that type of thing. So we were almost like friends, but rivals initially, So if you look at that and you think, okay, well, if these guys go into business together, it's not going to work because there's going to be like who's in charge or, who's the alpha or like whatever this dynamic is. But what I realized really early on, even though we can still, I think even when we first went into business, we were still kind of competing in the weight room. You know, we'd argue.
Yeah. Yeah. So good.
But I think I realized early on that Cory had a better mind for business than I did. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm already seeing all this growth and success he's having, which none of us would ever guessed with him being a C student, you know? But
No.
I realized that he had this business kind of acumen and this understanding of people that I didn't have. I was like, so if I want to be successful, I need to kind of follow his lead. And so I think then as we became more like, instead of me working for him and then it turned into a partnership, you know, this was 20 years ago now, I think I still even realized like, all right, I have to play to my strengths, let him play to his strengths, not try to compete with him or try to be him. I need to be my own guy. And, you know, not only have I learned a lot that way, and I still learn a lot from him every day, but I support what he does. I cheerlead him when he needs a cheerleader. He supports me and pushes me in the right direction. And I think when we operate like that, instead of us, one guy trying to be the top dog, then there's not that tension aspect. I mean, I can probably count on one hand the times we've disagreed in the last 20 years.
Well, I think the setup too was different than most. Like, so Dustin and I love lifting weights. We used to joke around in his garage. How cool would it be to own a gym together? So if him and I can't, from a gym standpoint, agree on what equipment we need, where it's going to be at, and what we call, like, you know what I mean? It was like one of those things where now what I think did help, which is what Dustin kind of alluded to, is like we had our own separate personal training businesses. So if I worked 2 hours more, Dustin's not making part of my personal training money. If Dustin wants to work 100 hours and I want to work 50, we're on, you know, it's like, so the way our setup was, we owned the gym together. Our personal training was separate. So it's like we're eating what we kill. And then the middle part, like we never really argued about. So we were just like, honestly, felt fortunate that we were even in this position to really own our dream gym, work together and do all those things. And I was a little bit, because I started business while he was still in college. So it's like I was a little bit ahead from that standpoint, but there was no competition because it was like, all right, man, this is like happening. Now he was able to come in and be a partner. And then we built our own kind of verticals, really. And I do cheerlead him. He's the best in his world, 100%. There's no one even close. That's why he sells shit all over the world. It's like, so I'm the one that's saying like, no, bro, like you need to charge more. No one's even fucking with you. You know what I mean? And that's not gassing them up. It's just the truth. Sometimes I think people, they're in their sector. And I'm looking like, well, where's everyone else at, dude? You're it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it was clear. And when I see things like that, because maybe to what he said early, like I'm always kind of like feeling things like that. I'll voice it to him, you know what I mean, to try to help him out too. But he does the same with me, so works good.
So in your world too, you're the strength and conditioning resource for wrestlers. That's like your
that's my niche.
That's
yeah.
your niche, as they call it.
niche.
He's literally the best at it. There's no one else.
And then you have a pretty significant subscription based model yourself, right?
Yeah.
So you guys, those are your separate things. And then Max Effort, you guys are doing together?
Yep.
Okay. And so what is, and if you can't say this, that's fine, but what is your like end game with that? Like, is it to take Max Effort to the like hill in terms of supplements? Like, what do you guys, or do you want to keep dabbling in all of this and kind of see where it goes? Do you have like a behind the scenes strategic
That's more
evil
like
plan?
I think that I'll speak for myself and then Deacon. It's like I think we've created a lifestyle that we both really love, honestly. So like our personal training is not in the gym necessarily all the time now. It's like a lot of it's online, some of it's in the gym, but it's like we still literally the same setup. We own the gym together. We have our own personal training businesses, whether it's subscription, whether they're in person. Max Effort we come together with, but the reality is they all work together. Between our podcasts, the people that listen to the podcast buy the supplements or do the workouts, the people that do the workouts do. So it's like all kind of just growing together in one kind of symbiotic, which you'll see when you come to the office because they're all meshed together, right? The studio, the gym, Max Effort. So, you know, I thought when I started this and when we started it, like maybe I would grow it to sell it type thing. But I mean, that's not even something I really even think about anymore. Because I think alongside of us growing our families and being in the community and just building quality businesses, helping athletes, it just, I don't know. It just, yeah, we always are trying to push and grow and figure stuff out and, you know, shake and move with however's going on in the economy. But to me, there's no real like major end game like, other than just quality product, grow the business, and enjoy the lifestyle.
Isn't that a great place to be where you're enjoying yourself so much? You're like, yeah, you know what? If somebody came along and bought it, great, but I'm not thinking about that.
Mm-mm.
A lot of people are doing that, like, oh, we have to exit. We have to. I mean, it's amazing. You've created this life that you love, and you love to do what you're doing every day.
Well, you think a lot of people that are in that position, like you're talking about, they're grinding and building this great business with the intent of selling it. Their quality of life is probably terrible. You know, they're working these 18-hour days, doing something that maybe they like the business itself or whatever like area it's in, but maybe what they're doing on a day-to-day basis to grow the business they don't enjoy. We're in the gym training every day. We're hanging out. We're, you know, less than 10 minutes from the gym where we live, each of us just in different areas of town, right outside of town. So it's hard to put a price on, number one, getting to enjoy what you do for a living, but then getting to operate the way that you want on a daily basis within that framework is really priceless. And I think I'm going to argue that even most people that get to do what they like for a living don't get to do that. Because let's say 10 years ago, when I was more of a full-time personal trainer, I was still doing what I loved, still doing it on my own terms in my own gym, which I loved, but I'm working till 8 or 9 o'clock every night, training clients every hour. I'm spending, you know, my weekends at the gym. I would go home on my lunch break to like, you know, see my kids, you know, when they were real small. You know, I didn't really get to spend much time with them. At night, they're already in bed or it's bath time when I get home or whatever. So I loved what I was doing then, but my quality of life was nowhere near what it is now. Now, that doesn't mean we just sit around and lift weights all day, but we just have a certain amount of freedom that comes with the online businesses, you know, and just the other things that having the right people in place on our team there in Max Effort is huge, because that wasn't always the case, you know. But having a strong team now and having the right people in place so that everything just kind of flows and works together really well, so that, you know, yesterday one of our main guys, our main operations guy there, Nick, you know, he had some car trouble or whatever. There was no like, well, you can't leave to get your car worked on because we need you to. No, it's just like, go take care of what you need to take care of, and someone will pick up the slack or whatever it is, you know. So it's not even just for us, but it's for the people within our team so they can operate a different way too. Maybe not quite the way that we get to because of our other ventures that we have outside of there, but they still even get a certain amount of freedom, you know, that comes with them doing a good job.
Here's the other thing is that the business I was in previously, like that was the goal, and it didn't happen. And then there was a downside to the lifestyle of like pushing for that. So to me, it's like the stuff I think I remember that was the greatest part about that was the building of it and the camaraderie, just like every locker room, every ex-athlete. And so I would argue that we're probably in the midst of that right now. So why would we rush to change it? And on the flip side, with the lifestyle that we have, it would take a significant amount of money to change that. And even that, I'd probably still get up and deadlift Monday. You know what I mean?
Probably, or you would?
No, I would, 100%. So my point is like, you know, Dustin and I, when we were moving the stuff into this facility, we both kind of looked at each other like this is probably the last spot. I mean, we found it where we got our dream situation, and it's probably like if we're moving this, we're probably moving it to one of our garages. Like, so, you know, we're camped out and we're just doing what we do, and we're really like, you know, we got our circle, and we're just building what we're building and trying to impact. And, you know, so it's like, yeah, there's no real rush. I think that maybe I thought that the grass was greener with that other situation, but to me, I think the grass is pretty fucking green. Sometimes you just need to water what you got going on, you know what I mean, and not really rush. I'm more patient now. I'm older, you know what I mean? I'm more patient now, I think. It's not like I've been doing this, I think I started the business in 99. Like, it's not whether it works or not. It's working. Now it's to the degree of how do I balance that with what kind of life I want, with still being blessed to be able to do what I love with the people I like, you know, and then the daydream is all kind of came true. So I don't know why I'm looking for something else.
Right. And I do think that Muscle Farm probably gave you major perspective, you know, and so it's really looking back on all of that and the grind and some of the things that happened. Now you're like sitting here going, man, we really do have it really good.
I would just say that this is the one I was trying to build the first time. It's just I had different partners and different situations going on. So this is the real, once again, authenticity. Max Effort's authenticity is true just from the name on. The gym, it's wired. Like everything's wired in finally together, I think. And it just wasn't always that way, but things take time to evolve. It's just now evolved to where once again, it would have to be life changing to where not just for me, but for everybody to really have to change our situation right now. I think we'd have to really look at it.
You know, it's funny when you talk about the authenticity, and it just made me kind of think back to the Muscle Farm days. And I remember when you guys were blowing up, and when they first put the Muscle Farm Science Facility or whatever the gym was called, in out there. And I remember seeing it, and even though that's not my thing, but it was like, you know, they got underwater treadmills and like all this crazy stuff, and I was just like, wow, it's amazing. And you were just like, yeah, that ain't my dream gym. No. You're like, I already got my dream gym.
It was Brad's dream gym, my other partner. I mean, I went there was no environment, like no intensity. I'd get a little pump. I'd be training with these athletes that people would love to train with, and I'd go, I want to go back to old school. Just is what it is. I just know what I like. That was not me. So that was like, but I was a partner in it, and I was a co-founder of it. But you know, it evolved to something. It evolved to like a Nike type thing. But that's not really. I'm more of what's happening right now. I think that's why it'll work for as long as we decide to do it.
So mentioning getting older. You know, obviously the two of you are the physicality of what you do, your Instagram, all you have to, I literally, after I put those pictures up, you know, on my I'm like, there was not one photo of them with a shirt on except for at the end. So it's like, and you guys have very different styles of working out. Sometimes when I watch yours, I hold my breath to make sure you can get up, or that you're not going to pop a blood vessel, or like your knee isn't going to. And I know that's part of like in you, man. Like, does it bug you knowing that you're not going to be able to do that forever? Or are you already seeing like, I can't, I'm feeling like maybe I should like maybe grab the 10 pounders, or I mean, you're ripping up some serious.
Well, it's been in waves anyway. So I've like had a few injuries here and there. So it's like I haven't just always been strong. I've been strong, I've been weak, I've been strong, I've been weak. So it's like my whole thing though is I love competing. Like back to Dustin's point of like when we started, like, so because we used to do powerlifting meets together, and then he's competed in a bunch of different other stuff since then. But I've really kind of stayed like that's just something I really, to me, there is nothing like them saying the bar's loaded and there's no one that can fucking save me. That's it. I either can get it or I can't. It's not a bodybuilding show where, oh, your biceps look bigger. And like we did that too, right? Which is cool.
But it's subjective.
But it's subjective. I either get the fucking weight or I don't. And you weigh the same as me, and you're stronger than me or you're not stronger than me. And some of my best meets I've got fifth in. No one even knows those things, right? And then some of the ones I've had some records. It's like, but what I've realized is I was not really that gifted of an athlete, but because of my longevity of what I do, because I've never taken drugs, neither has D, like we've like done this, like, you know, the long game approach. Now I'm starting to be able to, if I stay healthy enough, I can grab some of that stuff because now I am elite at this body weight and whatever. But I never really was scared of lifting heavy. I've had a couple things tear here and there, but nothing is outweighed to this point. There will be a point probably where I'm just like, you know what, it's not worth it anymore. I've had those thoughts here and there, but then like today, I was back under the bar and I had a good day and it felt awesome and I just feel alive under it because because I'm not scared to miss. See, that's the other thing is most people are just scared to miss in life in general. I'm not, because I've missed a bunch, but I know that I'm probably going to recalculate and come back and make it. And that's how I'm going to beat you, because you're going to give up and I'm not going to. So there's something about when I started squatting every day, like, I don't know, it was probably like 10 years ago. I did it for like 3 years. I loved every day. The body's telling me, no, don't do it. I have to battle it. I got to get under the weight. There's sometimes I would miss weights in the morning. I'd be so pissed I'd come back in the evening and get them. I was just doing way unconventional stuff. But I think it just hardened my mind to being under the barbell. I've seen guys I've trained with that got scared. And when they get scared, they're done. And that's the time. So there'll be a point where at some point, maybe it's just not worth it anymore, but I just haven't hit that yet. To me, it's like, I want to do the Griffey Jr., Griffey Senior thing. Like my son done one meet. I want to do a meet with him. Maybe after that I go, but then it's the locker room. It's the guys. Even I think we got 57, 55, 54, all guys, they still compete like once a year. So even if that becomes kind of my norm, which it kind of has been, but yeah, I don't know. Right now, I just love it too much still. I don't still know if I can, compete against my old numbers, but I'm just really looking more like what's right now. Am I better this week than I was last week? And the answer is the last 4 weeks I've been better. I've been better in the past, but I'm
How
better.
do you not break a blood vessel?
I've had them pop in my eyes before. I've had them like where I was at Westside a couple different times, which is a powerlifting gym in Columbus that's like really like well known, and was doing some crazy shit. And yeah, because I mean I squatted 700 at 220, 198, 242, and then 694.4 at 181 just 2 years
That's
ago.
the world record, right?
So yes, I thought it was the world record, and then I realized that they rounded up on the kilo chart. I thought I squatted 695, and I squatted 694.4, which is the same as the other guy, and he weighed a half pound less than me.
So his counts as the record.
His counts as, so I am actually the second.
Does that keep you up at night?
You know what is weird, because when I made it, I thought I was the first. I've never been the first at anything. I've never really been the first. I'm always this guy. So I was not surprised. Honestly, I was like, of course. Yeah, it feels right. Yeah, it feels more like my story, honestly. Isn't that funny? So I got up and I was pissed because I remember I made the lift. I did a bodybuilding show the day before. And then I got up the next day, and it was like this whole thing we shot like a mini documentary on. I got up and I was like, no one else at this weight, at this age, has squatted more than me. And then I realized Devin did, because he weighed a half pound less. But once again, that's why I asked if you were a hooper. My original swag comes from playing basketball, even though I wasn't really that good at it. But I could jump, and I enjoyed like that kind of like, there's a lot of shit talking. It's a lot of style. Like basketball just has like a whole kind of swag to it. The same thing for me with lifting. Like I like being on the stage. The lights are on. I get it or I don't. There was a lot of thing riding on that lift because I just did the bodybuilding show. We're capturing the whole thing. I'm mic'd up, like all of it. And it's like, if I don't make the lift, then the fucking story ain't what it is. And so then I think, well, I literally think this, which sounds funny. I'll go to the hospital or I'll get the lift. That's literally it. That's literally what I think. And there's certain moments in my life. Dustin was there for the one when I did the three things. I did Olympic lifting meet, bodybuilding show, and powerlifting meet all in the same weekend. And I squatted 500. You were on the microphone. I unrack it. My body feels like a train wreck because it's the third event of the weekend. I unrack it, and I almost fall back. I take a step back. I get myself together, and I look up, and everyone's got their fucking cell phones up. And I'm like, if I don't make this, then it doesn't cap the weekend. I'm going to be on shows about, like, there's sometimes you just have to like commit to that level. So I think that those type of things force me to that. And I just like that because I want to be challenged like that. And you just don't get that a lot in life, I think, as you get older sometimes, especially athletically.
Yeah,
So-
you're definitely going to have to find a new hobby when you get older.
Yeah, I know.
Like when you can't do it anymore, I'll be interested to see what you like obsess over.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what it is.
Well, you
That's-
don't need to know yet, but it'll be
Yeah.
coming around the corner.
Yeah, soon. Something.
There'll have to be something though.
Yeah, something will have to replace it. Or like, I remember watching Louis talk about how he felt like he was like super extreme and kind of dramatic, but this is probably how he felt. He said he felt like he was in between heaven and hell because the gym to him was like heaven, but he was in between because he couldn't take part in it anymore. And it was almost like he couldn't like it was like too much for him. So that's why at the point, like when I'm done and I'm kind of done like being the teacher, I might just be done being at the gym. I don't know. I don't know how I'll feel. You know what I mean?
Being these polarizing characters, which I think you both are, but you specifically, because you're on TikTok more. I don't normally see you on TikTok.
We just talked about TikTok on the way down.
I gave up on TikTok.
Listen, we could have a whole conversation and a debate around should you be on all platforms? Should you focus on one? I mean, there's a lot of different schools of thought. But I bring this up because, Cory, I was noticing that you were using, which a lot of people do this, like if somebody is a hater, you'll take the content and you'll turn the so I'm curious
Talking to TikTok haters.
Because
People love that when I was doing that. They quit hating on me because I was getting them.
that's so I have like I go back and forth on it because sometimes when I see it I'm like, okay, why are you like giving this person the time of day? But then like if I would see one and Cory would like, and not just you, other people that would say something really funny, I'm like, you actually are turning it into your own content.
Yeah.
Are you still responding to haters or
They
did they
quit.
just die?
They quit. Well, because I was just crushing them. Well, because this is the way I looked at it. I don't respond to haters at all on any of the other platforms ever. But in this one specifically, like people think it's okay to do that, right? So I'm like, all right, these people don't know me. So if they're going to come at me, I got to answer for every one of these. And this is going to sound funny. This was my thought process. All right, well, then this gives me a chance to tell them how good I am at my job. So go ahead, bring it on. Sure, you can do that. Here's a video of that. Oh, you can't do that. Well, here's a video of that. I was like,
gives
so
you a license to brag.
yeah, basically, I was like, you really want me to tell you how cool I am? If that's the fucking truth, then let's go.
I mean, I think it
That's
is a
that's
good
what I
way
did.
to. It really does. It actually it makes me laugh when you do it.
I thought it was funny. I had more people from my past that aren't even really on social media that like my buddies that like really aren't into like, yo, gee, like I love that series. Like they were into it.
Because they didn't even know that it was probably a real person reaching out to you. Is
That's
it mostly
funny.
people trying to say that you weren't a natural athlete?
I think no, it's that and just like not understanding probably the gym. You got to remember, like our gym culture is not common now. It's uncommon. It started out common, like Gold's Gym, the golden era, like 70s, 80s. Our gym is like so uncommon. The way that we lift a lot of times is uncommon. We're not the norm, right? Which is why people that fuck with us super fuck with us. So I think what happens is you have a younger demo where their common is Planet Fitness, lifestyles. I mean, it's just the truth,
They
right?
probably have never even really seen
Nah.
something we have, or they're probably not
The
even
bands, the chain, they haven't seen any of that stuff. So I'm like really kind of showing them things they don't see in their gym, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And then they want to like throw something else on top of it, because in this world there's no consequence. Like if we're 15 and you come and talk shit to Dusty, he's gonna punch you in the face. You might get a little bit more leniency with me but his trigger was quick, right? But these guys, they just but hey, but the reality is though, they can talk like this and there's no consequence. So if you think you're gonna come on, and there's some people that would get butthurt, like, oh, you put me on blast, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, motherfucker, well, you try to come at me.
that side of me Corey's talking about, it stems from the way my old man is and the way he kind of raised me. Well, he turned 69 this year, and within just the last year or two, he is on Facebook and on Instagram now. So two things. Number one, the first time he saw someone say, like basically someone tried to troll me on a max effort video.
Yeah.
And my dad was arguing with the guy. I had to call him and say, Dad, don't argue with these people. Like, don't even respond to him. Like someone like called me fake or something. And he was like, you're the only one's fake. You know, my son would blow, you know, he's
So good.
Yeah. So that was the first thing. I had to kind of explain to him how like trolls work on Instagram. And then the other thing is, this would have been like at the height of that TikTok hater thing. I went home and we sat down to eat or something. My dad looks at me, he's like, I gotta ask you something about Cory. I said, what? He goes, what's going on with these TikTok haters?
Isn't that hilarious?
Because he saw him reposted him on Instagram. I said, he's just having fun with it. I said, it's a way for him to really bring up past accomplishments.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't know why these guys are trying to hate on Cory. I'm like, Dad, just.
It's really because they don't know. Well, yeah, and then they come back and go, oh, wait. Or like I'll show something, because, you know, in our gym setup, like we're back in the back working, and then we just walk out and do content. This dude don't even look like he lifts. Oh, okay. Well, just because I got a t-shirt on in this video, like, but he don't know. So then you want me to post a video from the morning where I look fucking yoked and veined out? Sure. That just shit is funny to me.
So I was at the Ohio Stadium 2 country concerts ago,
Yep.
and Morgan,
Wade.
like, she's got a good voice. And I'm like, wait, what is she wearing? I'm like, she's wearing a Max Effort t-shirt. So I was in my head thinking, okay, she must work out with them. But I was like, what an amazing, first of all, everyone's seeing Max Effort here. They have to be just over the moon. Like, this is incredible. And the shirt was cool, and the colors were cool, everything was dialed in. And then I see Kyle Richards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, something. And I didn't know the connection between those two at the time. I'm like, wait, this is so not Cory's demographic or his sweet spot. Like, how is this? Then I made the connection.
Mm-hmm.
But I bring it up because it should be your demographic. I mean, I feel like this is just a no-brainer. And what you've done, I'm sure Kyle did a lot of hard work on her own too.
Yeah.
But let's talk about, so Kyle Richards is, first of all, my I'm a huge Housewives. I watch every Housewife show.
Funny.
Oh, it's amazing. And what's funny is if you would ask me, is who's the one housewife that you could actually hang with? I just named my kid Kyle, my little girl Kyle. I didn't necessarily after her, but I vibe with her big time. Like, we're friends and she doesn't even know it. She's very cool. When I saw that, I was like, okay, this is, I mean, my wheels were just turning. I just thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So let's talk about Kyle and what did you help her with? Like, talk about what you did for her, what you're doing. Because most people out here, they like watching you guys. They think you're hot. They like listening to you. But I don't think a lot of the women really think that they could utilize you guys.
Yeah.
And it's not true.
Well, I think 2 things. the widening of the demo is true, right? And it goes across everything from sports to entertainers. Dustin has multiple entertainers that have been using the products. What, Slightly Stupid, and what's the other band?
Tropidelic.
Tropidelic. So, which is like in a whole nother realm, right? And then we've got Jake Owen and Morgan Wade, which are both in country, which neither of us listen to country. So, but Morgan is a lifter, like a real lifter. Like she comes to old school and she's like, "What are we on today, boss?" Which
Like
she calls me.
she takes a squat rack on tour with her.
Like, yeah, she's legit. Like, she's no joke, legit. And she was following the workouts a long time ago. She was like a person paying attention to the content I didn't know. And then when
And
she
really,
started,
even before she had any type of notoriety, right?
oh yeah, no, she tagged us in a post. I'll never forget it. She had like a dog or something, and she had a purple Max Effort shirt on, and she had all these tattoos. Obviously, she's like really interesting looking, and she had like maybe 5,000 followers, like it was, or lower. She was early in her and we were like, this chick's cool. Like, let's send her some stuff, blah blah blah. And I just started interacting with her, and she started telling me like, hey, I've been following your stuff for a long time, Cory, blah blah blah. I didn't realize like how much she had really been following it. So then I was like, just started helping her. We started sending her stuff, just real organic relationship, and really that's, people wonder about that with us all the time, how we end up around these other people. And I think it's a couple things. I don't ever ask for anything from anybody. 2, I'm trying to add value, right? The second thing is that we're high performers in our own crafts and field, and people recognize that when they get around both of us, whether we go out and say that or not. But I deal with these entertainers and these other athletes, and they know I might not be as well known as them, but they know in my sector I operate at a high level. They can feel that because of the discipline and the way that we do things. And then it's like they want to help. We're helping them. So people think it's some like unbelievable. It's really not. Like, what I did is I sent Kyle really, really great workouts consistently for a long time. Not even a crazy long time, but long enough to where she noticed a pretty big difference and realized that what she was doing before was okay, but not as good as this, and that I actually care. And I just never asked her for anything. Now, it's awesome that she reposted things or did whatever. And actually, the People magazine article that they wrote about who is Cory Gregory, which was amazing, she sent it to me. She texted it to me like, hey, check this out. And I'm like, this is dope. You know what I mean? So, and because I think I'm not, quote unquote, a fan initially, it's better. Because, look, I know how famous she is. And Morgan's like super famous now too. Jake Owen's famous. But I never really listened or watched any of these things. So I just treat them like homies. And I think that that's what they're looking for. They're people. They're just really good at their job. Well, I'm a person and I'm really good at my job. So to me, it's like my whole like kind of way I look at this is I worked with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's my idol after my grandfather. And it's like after that, I met Tiger 2 weeks later and I wasn't even nervous. I didn't grow up wanting to be Tiger Woods. You see what I'm saying? So I think like once I got to a certain point of who I was around, how they operated, and I was able to be friendly and be mentored by them, like there really isn't like a bunch of being starstruck after that. I think that you need to be consistent. You need to be about your business. You need to add value because everyone's trying to be at them. But if you don't really ever ask for anything, they just want to help because you're becoming friendly and you're actually adding value to their life. That's how all these relationships have happened. People think maybe it's something different, but it's really not.
Well, they want to think it's something different because everybody wants this quick fix. They want this magic thing, and really, it all comes down to you're just in your lane doing the best you can do, and people notice that shit.
Facts.
And that's it.
Long enough.
I mean, that's it.
It's been doing it long enough
that
that, like Dustin just had that event where he was out doing Fire and Ice and helping a bunch of the band members and at one of the events, and it's like they fucking loved it. He's adding value to what they already do. And that's the same thing that we're doing. They're on the road constantly. My workouts on the road are perfect for these guys. So I'm adding value to what they do. They feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
Well, I think what a lot of people don't realize at the end of the day, Morgan, Kyle Richards, Kyle Richards is ultra famous, comes from these ultra, high-end bloodlines and everything. She was a Hilton, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she's just a person.
Yeah.
So who does she want to interact with?
Well, hold on. Her sister married a Hilton.
That's what
okay,
it was. Yeah,
gotcha.
yeah.
If you want any of the, if you want to go into any of the
You
deets,
can tell
Kathy married a Hilton.
Yeah,
Rick.
yeah.
So I guess my kind of train of thought here is, she's still just a person, just like anyone else. So who does she want to interact with on a daily basis? Someone who is a friend to her, is helping her, is bringing value, or someone that's always looking for an angle of how they can leverage her fame. You know, people, they're probably so used to that, people trying to, you know, leverage their relationship for something else. But I think, you know, she's going to want to do things naturally, like you said, like that article and reposting, because he's not asking for it. You do things for your friends because you like them. You know what I mean? So I think that's maybe something that a lot of people don't understand about, you know, getting to know someone who's quote unquote famous or someone with notoriety or whatever. They just want to be treated like a normal person. And they want to have a good quality relationship, people that they can trust, people they can count on. It's kind of unrelated, but kind of related. I was at Jack's soccer tournament last weekend, and as the game's finishing up, the parents are coming on for the next game or whatever, and one of the other dads going like, "Hey, isn't that Ryan Day over there?" And so I don't know whether he was there for like one of his kids or would watch someone else's kids. I looked, I was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "Yeah, it is Ryan Day." So then Dad pulls out his phone, and we're like 20 feet away, and he's like taking pictures and video, and I'm just looking, thinking, I mean, I could see being like starstruck if you're like a 10-year-old Ohio State football fan, but I was kind of thinking like, what are you going to do with this picture of Ryan Day from 20 feet away, and it's just the side of his head.
Kid's soccer game.
He's watching a soccer game, you know? I'm thinking like, I wouldn't even go up and bother him and like even say like, go Bucks or anything. He's there for a soccer game, you know? But so that's kind of what people, what famous people have to deal with, you know? Someone's taking your picture from 20 feet away with their iPhone. Like,
well, I definitely never been in no paparazzi shit before, but when I was out with Kyle and Morgan, like I was at some famous restaurant called Craig's or something. And like literally as I'm on the phone with Rachel waiting on Kyle and Morgan to pull up, and the dude from the Late Late Show that does the car karaoke.
Oh yeah.
What's his name? James Cordell or something. He pulls
Corden
up. Yeah. I mean, he's like super famous. Yeah. He pulls up, jumps out the range. People are like, pop, 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 pop. I'm like, oh shit, it's about to be like that. I got the Gucci on. I'm ready to go. I'm with the Gucci. Early that day, because I was like, what happens if I end up some paparazzi pictures?
That's right.
I need to be looking fresh out here.
You gotta be with the Gucci.
So anyway, it was like that was kind of interesting because I had never really been around that, and no one knows who I am. So like, you know, but I was like, her and Morgan had sent me some of the picture, and Morgan sent them to me. She's like, hey, gee, like check this out. I'm like, this is hilarious.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really cool. But it was good to have just like, she was just talking at dinner, like, yeah, you know, like Elton John was here like 2 weeks ago or something. Like, I mean, this place is like crazy for that. But what I like about where we live, how we operate, is I always felt like even in the MP days, I could dip into that stuff, and then I'm back 2 days later.
I wouldn't like. I can't.
It's a lot.
I couldn't be in that world. I couldn't do it.
So that even is a bigger point of like, then it's refreshing to have probably Midwest, like hardcore, low key people in your life that just like are really trying to add value. And look, it definitely helps when she reposts stuff or she talked about the I Want Abs. Like her and Morgan have helped me tremendously, and probably even more than they realize, because then it opens up the eyes to a new demo. Like, hey, wait a second, these dudes are kind of hardcore, but maybe that's what I need.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like when the video came out that they just did together, I mean, I'm just like hitting them up like good squat form in the video in the heels. Like, you know, like it's funny.
You mean the video of them together or the video of them together?
The video that was out that was just together, that was really funny, and a play on whatever was going on.
That was actually amazing. Do you think that's all just for I hope it's not. I totally hope it's not. I really hope they're like, I
just think regardless of whether it's, you know, just for fun or like, you know, an act or whatever, it looks like they're having a great time. So that's
I
all
like that.
about.
I like that PC answer. I like that PC answer. I want a little more from you.
Well,
you've thought about it.
Earlier
I know
you
you've
asked
thought about it.
if Dustin and Gutcheck were the same people.
Because I've thought about it in great detail, and I like it. I like where that's headed, if it hasn't already headed there.
I'm still thinking about something else that we were talking about earlier, you know,
okay.
Because I don't really know Kyle Morgan like that, you know.
Well, you okay. What do you
I
think?
just know the video is really good.
It's a great video.
It's a great video.
Well, I will tell you something.
No, it's shot well too. I mean, good cinematography, you know.
Since I do keep up on all this though, because there have been lots of rumors in the past about Mauricio. He's a good-looking dude, and again, you live in that world where, I mean, Kyle is bomb. Yeah. But it's like always there's that's why I think that's so unhealthy. Like you look at someone like her and you're like, she has such a look, like a cool ass look. Yeah. But there was something that came out on the internet where he says something about, well, you know, they're saying that you are having an affair or whatever. She's like, well, at least it's me for once. And she just looked at him. And I was like, all right. Because there's always been.
That's the husband, Mauricio.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I've never met him before. Here's what I'll tell you
Very
about Kyle,
charming.
though, which is awesome because I went out to lunch with her a bunch and was out there for a couple days. She's a really, really down to earth, nice person. I mean, honestly, like super giving, like, I don't know, just really thoughtful, everyone around her. I watch how people interact with people they don't have to be nice to.
Yeah.
I've always done that. And it's just like, because I've picked up on that with other people in my past. And you can tell, like, if people really think they're better than you or not. And there's a difference between the confidence in that, I think. And yeah, she has every reason, especially in that circle. We're in the hills. We're going to Prada after. We're out at, lunch. Like,
She could be mean to the waiter if she wants.
everybody.
Well, I
She-
was thinking
literally everybody.
I was just thinking that in my head when you said that, though. A person who is not nice to the waiter, and you can plug in barista, you can plug in.
Doesn't matter, yeah.
If
The checkout
the way
person at
you treat
Kroger.
someone who you do not need anything from, to me, says everything about you. Everything. And
Well,
then some.
And I just watched the way that she interacted, and just the way she interacted with me. It was actually like, because sometimes you meet people and you're like let down. I was not. I was actually made me want to be even more of a fan. And I was at one of the tapings for the show. I mean, there's like 7 cameras.
I would have passed out.
Yeah, it was awesome. I'd never been in that before. She asked us to sponsor one of the events, so we gave out plant protein to everybody at the event, and like it was on step and repeat. It was a really cool couple days in LA for me, honestly. And I'd only really interacted with her over top of text and talked to her a couple times, but it was like, yeah, it was super cool. It just solidified everything. Like, yo, I'll just keep adding value. Something comes out of this, other than a little bit of publicity here and there, great. But to me, it was like, she has, I'm answering a need that she has,
So this is a great softball for me to throw.
Okay.
So if it's good enough for Kyle Richards, I guarantee there's a million ears perking up right now. Like, I want to know what's going on here. So Kyle's never looked better. We all see it. And you can call it Ozempic. You can go with all those rumors that people were. I think Kyle works really hard. I think she likes to live life. I think she stopped drinking. And whatever the hell she wants to do diet-wise, it's nobody's business. But I do believe she did it in a healthy way.
Well, and it's the busy diet.
Yeah.
Well-
Well, she
There we
doesn't
go.
follow exactly the busy diet, but she does follow like a lot of those principles. Kyle eats, I would say, a little bit more of a wider range than like mine's like probably more hardcore of what I tell people to eat. But what I love about her is when she quit drinking, that's huge because she drank a lot of margaritas from what I gathered, right? So a lot of sugar, and she's up training like every day. So her consistency on training. So I think that she was doing a lot of like good quality things. I just don't know if they were like hard enough. And I think like once she got on to like, oh wait, this is what it should look like. And then Morgan's like on the other side, like training, like she likes to lift heavy. Plus she runs distance. It's like I honestly just think she needed some new ideas.
Yeah.
And I think that I'm the one thing that we both do a great job in programming, which is why these people have stayed with us for so long, is it's always different. And so I think if like, I'm telling you, Carrie, I text the workout for the week. It's within 2 minutes. She texts me back, hey, thanks, Cory, and gives me a heart or whatever. Like, it's like immediate. So I think she does value, but I realize that about a lot of the people that I've worked with over the years. It's, those things that other people are not doing to help them, they're just like everyone else. They're insecure. They're trying to look good. They got even more eyeballs on them. Like, if you can contribute, like, because we all are like that. We all want to look a certain way and feel a certain way. And like, if you can contribute to that, it's massive. I mean, and especially when you're in the public eye, like she is constantly.
I can't imagine that.
So
either.
that workout and now that is like, it would be really difficult. So I really think like, okay, how can I help with the little piece that I can play, which is a small part of it, but it's been fun.
So I assume we're working on packaging something for the average housewife here, because I know
I have stuff on the
this is
app.
already going to be a thing.
I call it cardio shreds. It's like a mix of like just combos of treadmill, dumbbells, real basic stuff that you can do anywhere. It's
What's
on
the
my-
busy diet?
The busy diet is a program I put together. It's like a 21-day jump start utilizing the plant protein and just quality food, but it's like a 21-day kind of concentrated plan that we do at max effort. So it goes along with the workouts.
I need that.
It's really easy to
think it's great.
follow. I think a lot of people just need like some good guidelines and a good push, and it's part of the thing that we've been kind of packaging and selling. It's been good business for us.
Another question I have for you guys. Why am I not on your podcasts?
Yeah.
You have a lot of guys on there and you're always broing out, but I think I can be like a bro.
Yeah.
You can
You
have
don't have to
me
be a
on.
bro. You can just be you.
But be me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think especially if you're trying to widen your demographic. Hello.
Well,
I
come
am,
on-
your,
come out next
I
week.
am your demographic.
I think that's interesting because it's like, it's just happening. I don't know that I'm trying.
Oh, right. It's happening.
But it's good because it's organic.
Yeah.
Right. So there is more. I've had more 50-year-old women in my DMs
Oh, I'm
asking about, because we talk, which is interesting about us, we talk to a younger demo. Like, not on purpose, it just happened.
Yeah.
Like, our demo that pays attention to us is actually not our own age. Like, if you look on our like our Instagram, it's like 25 to 35. But we got these guys when they were like in college, and then tons of high school kids now too, between wrestling and baseball that's following like our program. So it's like we've never really talked to our own age. I think we're starting to more now, and now more female. But it really was not that way. So I'm like, my content is not even based around that.
No, I know.
So when people come to my app, they go, it's just a bunch of like muscles and dudes. You know, and then I have one picture of Kyle on there that says cardio shreds.
Right.
It's just really not, doesn't mean, I mean, but we both started out helping this demo because that's who wanted a personal trainer was middle-aged women. So we're good at that too. We just, that isn't just what we, so I like that it's like kind of returning back to that organically. But yeah, it's not like I was like going and looking for it, which is probably why I don't end up working out. Guys will send, it's hilarious, pictures with their shirt off all day long. Hey man, I lost 20 pounds. That's not the way that females operate.
No.
So I could have way more females than people even know, but I'm not posting pictures of them in their sports bra because that's not what they want.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like even the marketing around it is not even the same for how I've operated all these years, because that's not the same kind of dialogue that we have. So it's like, so that we don't really have like a plan per se. Once again, it's just kind of organically happening. But what's starting to happen is people are starting to realize, wait, okay, because of these certain females, they're getting these type of results. All to Dustin's point, this plant protein, we've had women that have trained with Dustin that were taking someone else's plant protein that were in our own gym and didn't even know how good ours was. But then they tried it and now they're like, oh my gosh, why was I like blown away by it? So yeah, we need to probably figure that out, but it's starting to head that direction right now.
Yeah. Where do you make it?
Our manufacturer is in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we're not mixing it in the back of the gym out there.
No, I didn't assume so. I was just curious if you.
It's like a witch's brew.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because
what's in there?
Well, I know that you understand enough about business to know that's not how it works.
Right.
But I think there has been people that have come before and
Like, can I get some in the back?
yeah, and they think like, well, where do you make the protein? It's like, well, you think we're just back here on the pallets putting it together?
Here's what
whatever?
I want to like. This is when I get kind of like I'm a dick a little bit when somebody's like, "Oh, you selling it out your trunk?" I'm like, you know, I was in 60,000 retail doors with the first business, right? And then they go, I'm like, no, I'm not just selling it out of my trunk. This is a real fucking 7-figure business. This is what we do. Like,
yeah,
take it serious.
Not,
so I don't, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I have to do that.
Yeah.
That's not my nature. But when you give me that kind of stuff, I have to like check you real quick and be like,
You know that saying, be humble but let motherfuckers know.
that's how
I like that.
Yeah, it's how I
I
think.
fuck
That's
with
one of
that.
my. It's one of my top 5 favorites. Like,
So yeah, when it's like is what it is, I'll do it. I try, but I never want to lead that way because then you sound like a fucking douche. And
Right.
plus, I don't really want to live on my past stuff anyway.
Right.
But I want you to know, like, I did do that. So, like, I used to call the CEO of GNC and then like got deals done. Like, this is a fucking real thing. God.
I think the other one that I've heard before, I think people don't understand. Like what's the not Amway, but what's the
Oh, multi-level, just
like a
marketing.
multi-level
Yeah.
marketing. So people will be in a multi-level marketing business and they'll say like, well, I'm a business owner. Really, they're not a business owner. They're a sales rep for a company or whatever,
Right.
but that's the way they frame it. And so I've had people that think like that's what we're doing with Max Effort. Like it's some type of, whatever. I'm like, no, like it's our company. We put together the formulas. We have it manufactured. They're like, oh, where does it come? I'm like, it ships to us on pallets. It comes on a big truck, just like every other goods when it goes to Walmart or anything else, So
I would have to say, no, we're Amway.
yeah.
Like, it's our company. Like,
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes people just don't understand.
it's like they can't grasp
because
it.
they can't think that big for them. I mean, it's too big.
Yeah.
That's where that's all good, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. But I think you do have to kind of be Well, I guess you don't have to be, but sometimes you just almost have to tell motherfuckers, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
let them know.
What was it? Be humble.
Be humble, but let motherfuckers
Be humble, but
know.
let motherfuckers know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah, I think that that's kind of like probably our vibe in general. And I think that there's some people that jump to conclusions about us too until they get to know us. That, I mean, I think that all this stuff is like genuine. I think it's all based around like wanting to help people and build businesses. But I think some people think like we're a certain way that we're not until you do some shit like that. Then I'm going to tell you. But both of us are really, I think, giving people that are always trying to help whoever's just trying to get better.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, you know, I don't know. I think the authenticity sometimes people misconstrue for like that we're just playing some type of act or something. It's weird. We've had some comments like that and we're like, what?
Yeah, but what people think is none of your business. That's what I always think too.
That always surprises me though.
Yeah, but it doesn't surprise me because what you guys are doing, to say the word extraordinary, it is extraordinary because most people aren't doing what you're doing and to the level that you're doing it with the success that you're doing it. So what happens is the masses look at it and they want to find flaw. They want to find fault. They want a reason why it's not awesome.
Yeah.
That's just human nature, unfortunately, because not everybody's going to be able to do what you guys are doing. So you kind of have to tune out most people. Like another thing I always think about, like unless someone is somewhere that I want to be or they've done something that I want to do, I'm not really listening because then you're just listening to all the noise and then you're just drowning out in the noise.
I only really take value in if people have lived it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to listen to an out of shape trainer or a broke financial planner. Like at the end of the day, like if you've got pop because you've accomplished something and have real value, then I'm going to take it into consideration. If not, we're probably just not talking real long anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I've always kind of, because you got to live it. That's why it takes a lot to like get that respect at that craft level if you're not really living it. I don't know. So.
No, I agree. Okay, I have some questions for you guys.
All right, sure.
Okay, just dumb, crazy questions. When you guys were 15 and 16, did you guys ever fight over any girls?
We had one that we fought over.
Was it a physical fight? Who won? Who got the girl?
I'm gonna say it wasn't a physical fight, but I'm gonna say Cory got the girl.
I don't know. I don't think either of us really got
No,
her.
neither of us really did.
But it was definitely like some 15-year-old childish
Yeah, it was
behavior.
like yeah.
I think Dustin might have ripped a door off a hinge though.
I did get really mad.
Okay, Cory, what's the worst date you've ever been on?
Worst date I've ever been on? I wouldn't say it was a date, but we'll say like I was with a girl that I was like thought I was like super attracted to, but then I wasn't. Like there was multiple things that like I was not attracted to very quickly, and then I realized like, ooh, this is bad. But she doesn't feel that way. You know what I mean? So then I felt bad also.
You were just breaking hearts, taking names.
Yeah,
Got it.
I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Dustin, what do you say whenever you talk to yourself in the mirror?
I don't talk to myself in the mirror.
Okay, but if you were going to, like your internal voice.
My internal voice is just always to keep going. You know, I don't really do a lot of self-reflection except for when I'm like doing, I think, conditioning work, like when I'm running, biking, or even when I'm doing sauna and stuff like that. That's kind of when I do like maybe my self-talk.
So you don't say things like I'm Dustin motherfucking. See, I say I'm Carrie motherfucking Croft.
Oh, I love that. No, but I don't. No. Sometimes though, I'll look in the mirror and I will think I'm in the second half. Like I remind myself that, you know, my life is half over. And so it's really something I think about a lot, but really, especially when I look in the mirror, because I think, you know, in some ways I feel young and I still look young in some ways, but then I'll look and I'll think like, you know, hopefully I got another 45 in me. We'll see.
Yeah, I would agree. I've thought about that a lot too recently. I always call myself a bitch ass hoe. Don't be a bitch ass hoe,
Carrie
G.
does that too.
I love that.
I'm like, don't be a bitch ass hoe today. Get your ass to the gym.
That might be my favorite.
People love when I say that together for some reason. I don't know why.
Good.
It sounds like when like a 10-year-old makes up cuss words.
What would you say is the most impressive thing about you?
My consistency.
What about you, Dustin?
You know, I don't know. I think maybe just my ability to try hard. That's it. Which I think is maybe not that impressive, but, you know.
I would argue that it
God, you're a
is.
humble man. You're so profound and humble in your
I
old
think
age.
here's the thing I think that we have done a good job and a bad job of. We've done a good job of insulating ourselves to our environment. So our norm is like an expectation is extremely high. I don't think sometimes we realize how high it is. And that's not like saying that we're better than it, but I think that the people that are around us have an expectation. We have an expectation of ourselves, and then we keep accountability with each other to a point where our circle of the old school gym and what's going on in there and the level that we've kept ourselves all these years, it's like Dustin says trying hard is not, but his trying hard and the rest of the world's trying hard.
Right.
It's like two polarly opposite things. So, but I don't think there's a lot of like, we're not giving a lot of attaboys because that's the expectation.
Right.
I just
You
think
know what I
that's
mean?
just the way things should be, you know?
Yeah. Or they are.
You know, I got a good friend, Matt Brown, that trains with me. He's a Hall of Fame UFC fighter. He's one of the longest tenured fighters in the sport. And he's had he's had his 30th straight fight in the UFC.
Tied with knockouts, like the most knockouts
Tied the
ever.
knockout record.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just knocked out his last guy too, you know. So they think this is like an OG guy. You know, 100 years from now when people talk about the UFC, he's a name that we mentioned. You know, so obviously he has access to any coaches or any training partners, anything he wants. And he lives in Dublin, but he comes all the way out to old school to train with me. You know, and I think the reason why is, I mean, obviously we like each other. We got a good rapport, and he digs the gym and all that stuff. That's all a part of it. But I think it's because he probably in the last 20 years, professional fighter, he's not met a lot of people that are willing to consistently kind of go to the dark place with him. That'll push as hard as he needs push, as hard as he wants to push when we're out, whether we're running Hoover Dam or we're, you know, pulling my truck at the gym or whatever it is. Most guys, even other pro fighters, they're going to tap out before then, and he's going to be left knowing that he needed a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I think that's my superpower, I guess. Whereas Cory's superpower is consistency, and maybe I wish that was my superpower because I'm not as consistent as he is. But I think my superpower is effort.
What's your grossest habit?
Rachel said my toothbrush is like the grossest thing of all time because I never wash it out.
What about you?
I tear off my fingernails and my toenails.
I do that too.
So it's pretty gross though.
What's the most childish thing you do when you and Rachel argue?
Childish thing I do.
Or toxic? Like, what's the thing you're not proud of when you guys get into, like, what's your thing?
I think that, I don't know if this is like I think that women are right most of the time. I think we don't want to think that they're right most of the time. So then I usually like blow up and then come back and then like try to apologize. And then also usually women take longer time. I'm speaking broadly, but I feel like this is pretty true. They take a longer time to like get over it. Where guys, like, we argue, whatever, we're like, yeah, we're good. All right, next.
There's not
2 days
there's
later,
no
she's
residual hurt.
Yeah,
Right.
2 days later, she's still mad about it. I'm like, I told you were right. She's like, yeah, but you fucking got all mad and blah blah blah. Well, and the other thing is too is I'm a hot and cold. Like, I can be like the nicest guy ever, but then just one thing can send me off the complete deep end. I'm just that way. I've always been that way. So I'm like, I'm a little bit like what's the word? Like, my kids are even like that with me because they know like there's certain things of respect that have to happen, and if not, then I'll flip out and get like.
So they
super
walk on
mad.
eggshells a little bit.
Probably a little bit, but I also think it's not terrible to be, especially from a male standpoint, to be a little bit scared of your dad. It keeps you in fucking line. And so like,
My husband would love that.
I mean, I just think it's the truth. Like, I'm also a bro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get out there with them, but they know, like, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you're not ready for the title yet, and that's just part of it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
I mean, dude,
That might sound super old fashioned, but I think
it's fucking
for
true.
for
though.
a young boy, there has to be a healthy fear of your dad,
Yeah.
or there should be. Because I know my dad was very loving and affectionate and just personable and stuff, but I was also scared to death of him. And it's not like he ever. I mean, I can think he like paddled me once my whole life, but I had this fear of him growing up that like it kept me in line. It saved me from myself, I think.
He's big. Dustin's dad was impactful on me too. He's big and he's strong and he's awesome, but he's fucking serious if you mess up.
I
that's it.
knew not to fuck around with him.
And so I think it kept us, because I mean, we were running around a lot together in high school. I think it kept us in line. When we fucked up, he came and told us.
Yeah.
And it happened a few times. And we knew that we couldn't beat him up.
Are you wearing underwear?
Yeah.
What kind?
Oh, I was like, where's this girl? I know she's been calling it the threesome on social media. Let's see. Lacoste, whatever.
Okay,
however you
so
say it.
those are like boxers.
Boxer briefs.
The alligator
Yeah.
ones. That's hilarious.
What about you?
I think Adidas.
Are they boxers or briefs?
Just with the ones with
The ones with the
down.
legs.
Okay.
The stretch fabric.
Okay.
Sports stretch.
Who's your favorite person in this room right now?
You're my favorite person?
Who is?
Dustin.
Who's your favorite person?
Well, Corey, I mean, he's my best
Obviously.
friend.
Just
But I
making
still
sure.
love you. It's not a
no,
competition.
listen, I have tough skin. I'm just, obviously, I knew I was going to lose that one. I mean, fuck. What would Julie say is your most annoying quality?
My most annoying. You know what? I'm kind of a messy person. You know what I mean? So like if I'm getting when I'm getting food out of the cupboard or whatever, I might spill something, or like in general, like I'll leave clothes laying around the house. So like I'm not like hygiene wise, I'm not messy. You know what I mean? Like I shower multiple times a day, stuff like that. Some people are messy and kind of filthy, you know, whereas I'm just like I'm kind of messy in that way.
What's the manscaping situation down there?
Manscaping?
Yeah, do we manscape down there?
No, I'm not like a big, I don't put product in my hair. I don't really Of course, I'm not a very hairy person either, so that kind of helps. But yeah, I don't like shave my nipple hair off or anything like that.
Corey,
know?
you seem like a manscaper to me.
I don't think I've ever seen my chest hair before. Maybe one time. I've always shaved my chest. And
What
my
about your
arms,
armpits and
body
stuff?
bone. No, I have regular armpit hair. And the reason why I don't like doing bodybuilding shows is I don't like shaving my legs. It's so weird, and it hurts when it comes back in. So I can't believe you guys got to do that all the time.
What's your biggest pet peeve in a human being?
My biggest pet peeve in a human being, when people aren't open-minded. So whether that's about social issues or even like it bugs me that my son won't try fruit. Like he's like closed-minded about fruit. He'll eat just about everything, but he won't try a strawberry. So like that bugs the shit out of me, because I think like just be open-minded, just be open to the experience of trying this fucking strawberry. So closed-mindedness in general.
Yeah.
What about you,
My
Corey?
mom used to do stuff like that. She'd be like, I don't like trying new things. I'm like, what's that even mean, Ma? Like I could like, my biggest pet peeve, is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
I would say when people waste my time. I hate it. Like it bugs me bad. Because years ago, I think it was during the MP stuff, I was just so busy that I barely had time to think. Like actually busy, flying all over the place, like building these businesses, raising money, doing all this crazy shit, that I remember I just wanted to be home to like throw the football with my kid. And so if you're stealing my time, that's what I associate it with. So if you're like literally wasting my time, I think I could be home throwing the football with my kid, and I'd much rather do that.
People will try to steal your time.
No, I'm.
Yeah.
That's
constantly.
so. See, you guys being here and giving me your time is just. I mean.
But also, like when I say that, I don't try to say it because I understand my value, and if I'm not going to be making money with it, then I'm going to be spending the time with my family. Because to Dustin's point, it's about half over.
Mm-hmm.
And my kids now, I got one in college, so now I've seen that evolution where he only going to be around for a little bit longer, meaning like in my household, you know, or he's about to go away to Ohio State probably next year on main campus. It's like, so you see, like we catch a workout once together on Thursdays, we do shoulders where he runs the workout, or we watch football together. But like I know those times are limited, you know what I mean? So to me, that's the most valuable.
Yeah.
There's not really a price on it because I remember just wanting that. And then when I got to this new spot, it's like I can really do whatever I want with my time. So it's like I'm not about to waste it on some bullshit.
Yeah.
I think people have a hard time kind of understanding that, because people will not only waste your time, but they ask for your time when it's something that they need, but I hate to say this selfishly, but it like doesn't benefit you whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
So let's use podcasting as an example. Now, obviously, you're like my homegirl, and I wanted to come down and do your podcast, and I'm like, excited for it, and because we have a relationship, and I think it's just gonna be fun for us to hang out. But I say no to podcasts all the time because I'll get a DM from someone I've never interacted with. I don't know anything about them. They'll want me to come on their wrestling podcast, or they have a strength training podcast, or for coaches or whatever it is. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm available from this time to this time. And they're like, well, how about after, 7 p.m. on Wednesdays? I'm like, no, I'm home with my family at that time. They're like, well, what about Thursday? I'm like, you don't get it. Like, if it's not from 9 to 3, like that's during when I can fit you in. So like to them, I think they almost get kind of mad. And I don't mean it like in a disrespectful way, but I'm not going to take away dinner with my family to do your podcast when I've never met you before. It's just like that. To me, that's almost like a disrespectful ask.
There's an equity to an ask, and people don't understand that dynamic.
I like that.
No,
Yeah.
there is.
So, I mean, that's a great example. Like, I could help Kyle Richards for 3 years before I ask her to actually help me.
Yep.
or it could be never.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or she might ask me.
Yeah.
That's just part of it. So I think that people want to go. We've had some funny situations where they know me because they want to get to Dustin and they know me, and they're already using the ask before we even get to Dustin, and then I put them on a text with it, and it's like right to his main contact, or somebody will hit me like, "Yo, could you show Arnold this?" And the answer is, I was like, "All right." So
I've had someone.
Actually, guys, the reason why I brought you here today is I was hoping we could call Arnold.
Yeah. No, hey.
What's wrong with people?
So my answer to that is, it's like, okay, I just met you, and you want me to risk every piece of equity I have with Arnold Schwarzenegger that I worked my entire life for your project, which I've never even seen before.
I mean, people don't
You
get
think
it.
that makes any fucking sense to me? And they go, oh, wait. When you say it out loud,
Right.
sometimes they get it, sometimes they don't, but it was like
Yeah.
mind blowing.
You have to do the work and you have to do it the right way. That's why only so many people figure it out. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, you have made my life. I can probably die now, just so you know that you came in. You know how excited I was, right?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
do.
That was awesome.
You told us multiple times.
Okay,
how
but I'm going
excited
to tell you again,
were.
I was
Yeah.
very excited. And so, like, I'm going to be on cloud 10 today.
Can we come back again?
Please, I would love it. And I want to come on your show too. I
Yeah,
think I
no
will. I think
problem.
you're going to get a lot of positive comments from me because I'm going to come out swinging on your
Let,
podcast.
let's do it next week.
You guys have to kick me out of there. That's what's going to happen.
I'm cool with you just hanging out all day.
That's fine.
Yeah,
All right,
just
guys.
come do content.
Thank you. Love you both. All right, guys, if you're still out there following your girl, please follow me on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, or wherever the hell you get your podcasts. And until next time, wake your ass up, be consistent, and keep moving.
Keep moving. Don't be fake, motherfucker.
And be
yourself.
authentic, bitch.
Good job.
That's so good. Thank
Carrie, that was great. I feel like the three of us could.